is the first time you take part in the International Kids and Dogs jury?
It actually isn't. I was part of the jury already during the pandemic, so I judged all the films online with my fellow jury colleagues, and that wasn't such a nice experience because everything online was a bit boring, and really being in the cinema is what's special about a festival. So this is my first time really being here and experiencing it in the festival cinema.
Okay.
How did you come up with the idea of the exhibition? Science Radio Gander.
It's not an exhibition. I wrote a report for Cineregio, which is the membership association of regional film funds in Europe. And the report was about the activities that those different funds have in regard to gender diversity and inclusion. So I did a mapping of different activities in Europe where these kinds of activities are supported.
Okay. How was being a part of Keeping Up with Children as an audience?
You see all that gray hair here? That comes from that research. I still think it's a super important research. We were talking to children in 12 different European countries, asking them about what they like to watch, with whom they like to watch, if they like to go to the cinema and why. That kind of study has never been done before. And for me, it was really important to do it to understand if there are still borders between the different cultures, between the different countries. And I was quite sure that there wasn't any borders anymore. So I wanted to prove that and to see that we actually really enjoy watching the same things, and that it's super important to see films and series from other countries and to make more things from other countries available to you guys so that you can see lots of different cultures and not only the US films in the cinema.
Okay, yes. Well, I want to say that there's no gray hair. You're very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
And how do children interact with film content?
How do they interact with film content? Okay, so maybe one part that I pick out of the research is their relationship to cinema, because I find that super important and interesting. So yes, they are, like the children all over Europe and the world, I think, are watching more on their smartphones and on tablets and smart TV and so on. But they have a special place in their heart for cinema. Because nearly all the children in the research said that if they go to the cinema, it's a social experience for them. And when they watch on a screen, it's usually them alone. So it has this added quality of actually being in a room together with other people and laughing together, crying together. And that is just something completely different, especially in a time right now where life can get really lonely sometimes in front of a screen, and especially after the pandemic where we were all sitting home alone. So I think there's a special magic in the cinema that can make that happen.
I see.
How well would you rate your experience as the manager of Academy for Children Media?
What my experiences are with that, or... Yeah. So I just took over the job as head of studies for the Academy of Children's Media from two wonderful colleagues who have built it up in the last 25 years. And the idea behind it is a bit like here at the in the Olympia Effect program at the festival, to encourage creatives, authors, to actually write something for children and young people. And I'm super proud that now, after 25 years, me and my colleague Hannah are able to take over the program and see where we can move with it, how we can constantly evolve, because this is what the program has been doing over the last 25 years, is constantly reshaping, seeing what is important to the industry, but what is important to young people. What do authors need to know? What kind of skills do they need to have? How can they get in contact with young people to involve them in the process of creation, to actually write relevant stories for you guys? So that's a joy and a challenge to always be very on point. And yeah.
Okay. These days, Germans are very good in actions related to both children and cinema. Would you support this opinion?
I think a lot of colleagues, and over the last years as well me, put a lot of work to achieve what you just said.
Yes.
So there was a time when we didn't have that many children's films at all in Germany, and especially we had a lot of book adaptations. So stories that were already known to the parents and to the grandparents who decide to go to the cinema or not
Yes.
until a certain age with the children. So there was a lot of effort in the last years going into helping original projects, so stories that were just written about the here and now about children, get produced and be on the screen. And that is a continued effort of a couple of colleagues, and this is especially continued lobbying effort also to let politicians and film funds know that they need to invest money into these kinds
Yes.
of productions, and that we need special treatment for these kinds of productions. So, for instance, an anecdote is that we changed our film funding law in Germany at the beginning of this year. So there was a lobby process over the last year and the year before, and we had a children's film jury in the National Film Fund for quite a few years. And with the new proposal, it didn't exist anymore. And even the politicians didn't notice that it wasn't there anymore, because it was so different to the one before that they couldn't compare the notes. It was just a completely new thing.
Yes.
And they read it and nobody noticed because they were not aware that it was there in the first place. So there was a lot of time and effort going into talking about this, into raising awareness that this was happening. And I can tell you the good news is we have a children's film jury again in the National
Yes.
Film Fund in Germany, but it was very hard work. So even though you might have a good structure, never take it for granted. You always have to defend that money is invested into things for children, into education, into cultural offers, into whatever you guys need. You need to be loud, and you need to find your allies to raise your voice, to actually say, hey, we're here, we're also citizens, and we're super important because we're now and also the future of the country. So please don't forget us. So stay strong and be journalists and raise the voice.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. And
Thank you so much
Okay.
for the interview.